How are you all doing? My name is Moha Paulson. I'm a software developer, and I will be taking you through the journey of software development to the best I can. And I promise you that I can only take you through this journey because I have been here for the past 7 years. Okay, I do not know it all, but I know enough to actually take you through this journey. I have pretty good experience. Okay, I know things to tell you that can actually help you through this journey. Okay, and basically, all right, this is going to be a training, okay, on software development. Okay, most of these trainings are going to be free of charge. Okay, and all you have to do is to be committed to being a software developer. All right, it doesn't matter. Are you working? Are you a student? It doesn't matter. Okay, because software development is actually the big thing now. All right, Google it, check the demand for software developers. It is very, very high as long as you know what you're doing. And then this is the reason why we created this course to actually help you, put you through this course, and then help you develop the skills that you need. Okay, basically in this course, all right, we are going to be training you to become a software developer, a cross-platform software developer. What does that mean? You know, some people will say, I'm an Android developer. Some people say I'm an iOS developer. Some people say I'm a web developer, I'm a mobile developer, or a desktop developer. What we are going to teach you in this course is how you can become all of them in one single step. All right. While as we go on, you're going to understand better. Okay. So we are going to start. Okay. All right. Some of the things I might miss out, maybe letting you know, will be in the description, below of this video. You can also comment. Okay, my WhatsApp number is also going to be available, okay, in the description of this video. Okay, so you can chat me up, okay, and I will be there for you. That's my promise. Okay, so let's get you started. All right, what is software development? All right, and I forget to mention, okay, it doesn't matter, even you're working, even though you're too busy with work or you're a student, all you have to do is to commit just 2 hours every day to this. 2 hours every day, and in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, you're going to be amazed. All right. Now, through this course, in the next 6 months, all right, you're going to be good enough to start applying for jobs. Yes, you're going to be good enough to start applying for jobs, going for interviews, and start writing their test, because most times these software companies, they will just give you a test. They will give you something to develop. All right. So by the end, by the next 6 months, all right, you're going to be that good to start applying, even if it's just a junior developer. All right. Even if it's just a junior developer, okay, 50,000, 100,000 is a good start, and you start your journey. All right. So without further ado, let us jump into it. So what is software development? Now, I'm going to actually follow a definition I got from Wikipedia. Okay. 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 So, all right. So what is software development? It's very simple. Software development is just the process, the art of creating software. All right, that is just what it is. Okay, there are other things that you can put around it, but I just want this course to be as simple as possible. I want this course to, I want an 8-year-old child to understand what I'm saying. So it doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to make this as simple as possible. All right, software development is as simply as, it's just the process, the art of creating software. All right, and what is a software? As a software developer, you create software. So what is a software? All right, what are you actually creating? Software is a collection of programs and data that tell a computer how to perform specific tasks. You know, and those days when we started learning computer, they would tell us a computer is, how do they even put it again? That it takes data, it takes input. I can't remember how they really put it, but it takes input, processes the input, and gives you output. All right. Now, A software is actually a collection of programs and data. All right, it's actually a software that does the processing. The software will accept your input, will process it for you, and tell and output the result. Okay, there are different types of software. I'm using a PowerPoint to do this video. I'm also using Zoom to record this video. This is our software. Okay, your Excel sheet, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Instagram. These are software, all right? These are software. So as a software developer, it is your job to create such software, all right? So now it is just a collection of programs and data, and you're going to see when we start writing code, when we start developing software, you're going to see, and software can be as simple as just one line of instruction you give to it, as simple as that. It can also be as complex as 1 million instructions, all right? So while we go on, you're going to understand better. All right, so who is a software developer? Okay, just like you can guess, a software developer, also known as a programmer, you understand, a computer programmer, a coder, a software engineer, is an IT professional who uses programming languages to create computer software. Now, while we go on, you're going to understand that computer programs are just instructions you give to the computer to do something for you. When you give computer an input, you tell the computer, I want you to do this thing for me. Okay, computer, I'm giving you 2 and 3. I want you to multiply these two numbers. Okay, that's an instruction you're giving to the computer. Oh, I'm giving you, I'm telling you my name. I want you to write out my name to the screen. All right. It is as simple as that. Okay, it is not complicated. This is not hard. Okay, so we software developers, we write programs. Okay, we write instructions. We tell computer what we want it to do for us. When you go to Instagram and you click on upload image, all right, or upload anything, upload video. Now somebody has written the instruction, the command that is telling the computer, once this guy clicks this button to upload, do this thing, do this thing, do this thing. So that's the reason why when you click that button, you will now see something that will come up that you will now start doing whatever you're doing. All right. It is just as simple as that. Okay. I don't want to complicate things, but while we go on, you're going to understand this. So a computer programmer, a software developer is somebody who gives instruction to the computer, is somebody who tells the computer what to do. All right. So now, a computer program is nothing but a set of instructions, just like I have said, that are used to execute particular tasks to get particular results. Just like I said, the instruction you give computer 2 and 3. So you now tell the computer, I want you to multiply these two numbers and tell me the result. I want you to divide 2 by 3 and give me the result. I want you to do this, do this, do this, and give me the result. So you can also tell the computer, this is how I want you to do it. All right. So it is as simple as that. So our jobs, all right, as software developers, as computer programmers, is just to write program. It's just to tell the computer something, give the computer instruction. You are the boss. All right. You tell the computer, I want you to do this thing for me, do it for me, okay? So now, imagine that, okay, you employ me, all right, let's say I'm your house help, all right, and you want me to do something for you. You cannot speak to me in a language that I do not understand. You cannot tell me, you cannot give me an instruction in a language that I do not understand. Let's say I am, let's say I am, I came from, my country is France. Okay, let's say my native language is French, all right? And I do not understand English. And you're giving me instructions in English. You can guess, I cannot execute that instruction. There is no way, right? You do not expect me to, I do not understand what you're saying. So the same thing applies to computer. If you want to talk to the computer, if you want to give computer an instruction, you have to speak the language of the computer. And that's the essence of this course. We are going to be learning how to talk to computer, how to speak computer language. Now, there are several languages in the world, okay? Even if you go into a country, there are native dialects in a particular country. That is the same thing here. there are a lot of computer programs. Sorry, there are a lot of computer programming languages. So there are a lot of ways you can talk to the computer. All right, there are a lot of languages you can speak to the computer. But basically, the computer understands just one language. That language is called machine language. All right. This machine language, it is written in zeros and ones. Your computer only understands zeros and ones. If you're doing anything and your computer will not understand it. All right. But while as we go, you're going to understand how it is easy not to write on zeros and ones again. All right. So now, this brings us to language translation. So I'm actually going to explain this thing here, okay? Now, like I said before, you cannot talk to a computer if you don't speak the computer language. And the underlying language of the computer, just like I said, is the machine language. It is in zeros and ones. So in the early days of computer, the people who started writing codes, writing programs, giving computer instructions, the instructions they were giving to computer were in zeros and ones. Just imagine, all right? That is why they call it code. You know, understand all those things they say you're speaking in codes, okay? All right. I do not understand. You're encoding things. You're speaking in code. You understand? So those days, computer programs were written in codes, zeros and ones. It is only the computer who understands that. It's only the computer who understands that and the person who is also talking to the computer. So those days, if you want to talk to the computer, you must speak computer language. And the language was in zeros and ones. It was very, very difficult to write computer programs, you know. But trust me, as time goes on, things were evolving, things were becoming better, right? People started writing, developing new computer languages that were easy for us humans to actually write in. Okay, so that's what brought us to computer language translation. Now, because of the zeros and ones, it was very difficult to write in zeros and ones. So people developed something we call assembly language. Okay, now, but assembly language is not the language we'll be writing in. So, but I just want to, maybe for history's sake, all right? So people developed assembly language. Assembly language was easier. It was easier to translate it. It was easier for human beings to write. It was easier than the zeros and ones, okay? So now, but since the assembly language is not the language of the computer, what do you think? The computer will need a translation. Imagine that I am speaking to you in French and you don't understand French. Somebody has to translate. Do you understand? So then they also develop something they call assembler, all right? The assembler we translate the assembly language into machine language, into the zeros and ones. So it was not easier for human beings to write. But it was still difficult because if they show you an assembly language, you marvel, all right? So it was still difficult to write programs in assembly language. So another evolution came and it was now the higher level languages, okay? Now in these higher level languages, they are numerous now. And in that higher level language, you can write in English, okay? You can write in English and it will be translated to the machine language. Now, so when you now write in English, you no longer write in assembly language. So you now write in English. And when you write in English, another program needs to translate. Imagine that I'm actually a preacher and I came to your community and your people do not understand English, right? They understand only your native language. And I am speaking in English. There will be no communication. They will not understand what I'm saying, okay? But imagine that you understand English and you also know you also understand your native language. You can be a middleman, all right? While I'm speaking in English, you can translate to them. You can translate what I'm saying to your native language, and they would understand that, all right? So now this brings us to something we call compilers and interpreters, okay? I'm mentioning this thing because I don't want you to get confused because you definitely see these things while we start writing programs. But while this is your journey, you get to actually see these things. So I need you to understand them. All right. Now, a compiler, all right, does, okay, let me, to explain a compiler, let me put it this way. Let's say instead of me to come to your people, all right, let's say I'm having a crusade, all right, and I'm preaching. Instead of me to come to your people and do it on the fly, all right, I can record myself. I can record what I want to preach, all right? I can record it, all right? Then you will not take what I have recorded, or while I am preaching, you can be with me, okay? Okay, let's say I record my preaching, I record it, and you will not translate what I have recorded and put it in a CD in your native language. You translated it to your native language, and you now put it in a CD, and you now give your people that CD to go and listen to. So they are no longer listening to the preaching in English. No, they are listening that in your native language, and they can play that CD whenever they want, and they don't need you to be around. They don't need you. They don't need me. Do you understand it? Okay. So this is how compilers work. Okay. Instead of, okay, let me also talk about interpreters so that you can understand the difference better. All right. Now, an interpreter works this way. Instead of me to record myself, then you will not translate and record and put in CD. We can just say, okay, let us just come to your people. While I am preaching, your dear interpreting, translating to your native language, and then your people will understand that on the fly. They don't need to have the seed. It is on the fly. All right. So a compiler, just like I said, this instance, the instance I gave before, I record myself. You translate it and record it in a CD, and you now give it to your people to go and play. They have the CD. All right. That's what compilers do. Or interpreters, what do they do? Instead of us to record ourselves and put it in a CD, we can just do it on the fly, and I'll just come while I'm preaching, you're translating, you're interpreting, right? So these are the two types of languages. When you talk about the higher level languages, these are the two types. We have languages we call compiled languages, and we have interpreted languages, okay? Now, interpreted languages are interpreted on the fly, just like you're interpreting my preaching to your people. You're translating it, you're interpreting it to your native language. Your native language is on the fly. But compilers, they will compile it ahead of time, just like you compile the recording and put it in a CD. All right, don't worry. As we go on, you understand better. Okay. So, but in case you have any question, my WhatsApp number will be available. Chat me up, and then I will clarify you, okay? So now, the language because of this compiler and interpreters, okay? Some languages can be very, very fast, all right? So compiled languages are faster than interpreted languages, you know? Don't worry. If you don't understand, don't worry. Why, as you go on, you get to understand better. But the thing is this, anything, when they say a language is a compiled language, all right, and this language is an interpreted language, the compiled language will run faster. Why is it important? Why am I mentioning this one will be fast and this one will not, this one will be slower? Because it is important. When you're developing software, you have to check the performance of your software, all right? You need your software to run fast. Imagine that you open Facebook and Facebook keep loading, like keep loading. It will take a lot of time to open. Imagine you click a button on Instagram, it takes a lot of time to open. You will not like it, all right? So you will get to understand better why we go on. And if you're already in this field somehow, you also know what I'm talking about, but don't bother too much. In case you don't understand anything, don't bother too much, all right? When I was learning, of course, I didn't understand most of the things immediately, but while I was on it, things started getting clearer. So that would be the same thing for you. Now let's talk about that programming language, okay? Pardon me for my slide, it's very, very ugly, okay? So let's talk about that programming language, okay? All right, so when we talk about that programming language is one of the computer higher level languages that you can use to talk to the computer and give computer a command, okay? All right, so this language is a general purpose programming language developed by Google, all right? You can use it to develop web, server, desktop, and mobile applications for iOS and Android. So with this language, you can write, you can develop. So what we are going to teach you in this course is that at the end of this course in the next 6 months, you'll be developing. Let's say someone says, I want a web application. You can develop it with what we are going to teach you. I want a desktop application. You can develop it. I want a mobile application, whether iOS or Android, you can develop it. So you're going to be a jack of all trades, but not really, when they say jack of all trades work so hard to make things happen. But here, it is as simple as just configuration. You can just configure this, and you get it done. So it is easy to learn and also has great tooling support, it has a great tooling support. I can tell you, this is from Google, anything from Google, anything from Microsoft, anything from Amazon, you can trust these guys. These guys are good. These guys are big, okay? And they will keep developing this and making it better, okay? So that is a good place to start computer programming in case you're a beginner, in case this is just your first time of seeing this. That is very, very simple. It's a good place to start. The concept that you're going to learn in this course will give you a solid foundation in your coding career, okay? So that is a modern and rapidly evolving language. And the things it allows you to do are both exciting and even historic in nature. Never before have you been able to create native applications for so many platforms using a single code base. This is amazing, guys. Don't worry, you understand better. Or if you come from if you have been programming before, you understand what I'm saying. Okay. Before, all right, if you want to develop an Android application, you use Java or Kotlin. If you want to develop iOS, you use Objective-C or Swift, all right? If you want to develop web, you use the JavaScript, the TypeScript, and HTML and CSS, okay? Now, this language has made it that with just that alone, just one language and with the Flutter UI framework, you can do all these things with just one, okay? I have developed applications that are running just one code base, right? With just one code base, my application runs on web, it runs on desktop, it runs on iOS and Android. It's amazing, okay? Now, that virtual machine also allows lightning fast development time rebuilds, okay? Don't worry, while we start coding, you get to understand this thing better, okay? Because normally, when you write your code, of course, when you're developing your program, all right, you will be making changes, you will save, you go and recompile and now preview. But while you're doing with that virtual machine, once you make a save, when you make a change and you save, all right, it would reflect immediately. Don't worry, while we go on, you will get to understand. So that is this JavaScript compiler allows you to build for web, you understand? So it compiles that also compiles to JavaScript. That is the reason why you can run it on web. It also has something they call ahead of time compiler, which creates fast native applications across mobile and desktop platforms. So the thing is this, don't think about it too much. You're going to understand better when we start coding, okay? And trust me, you're going to understand better, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first Dart program. Hello, Dart, okay? We are going to write a simple program. And in this simple program, we're just going to tell the computer to greet Dart for us. As simple as that, okay? We are telling the computer, we are going to tell the computer to just greet Dart for us, okay? So, let's jump into it, okay? Now, before we go do that, I want to talk about Integrated Development Environment, IDE, all right? Of course, you must use an IDE when you're developing, you must. So let's talk about it. An Integrated Development Environment is a software. It's a software application that provides comprehensive facilities for software development. Some people have actually taken their time to build develop a software application for you that will help you to write your code. All right, it is easier, okay, all right, to write in an IDE. An IDE normally consists of at least a source code editor, build automation tools, and a debugger. Okay, so you're going to see the IDE we are going to use. Some people have developed software that will make it easier for you. So if you're developing your application with an IDE, life is very easy. It is very, very, very easy when you're using an IDE, okay? So the first one we are going to talk about is the Dart pad. In case you don't have a computer, at least for now, if you don't have a computer, you can use your phone to actually run this course, but you need a computer actually. Okay, you need a computer. But learning that, all right, the Dart pad is an online platform, it's an online IDE where you can write that code. So I think we should visit. Let's visit that. Okay, let me show you how you can get to that. Okay, I will be ending this show, and let me open my browser. Okay, let me open my browser. So go to your browser. Okay, once you're connected to the internet, go to your browser. You can search for Dart pad. All right, search for Dart pad. You're going to see this. Okay, so go for the dartpad.dev, all right? Click it, all right? Okay, so it is opening. Oh, sorry, my network is low. Please, pardon me. Be patient with me, please. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and come back, all right? When I have loaded it, I need to show you guys this, okay? I'll pause it and come back. Okay, I know, I'm so sorry. My network is actually acting. Okay, thank God it is here. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is your Dart pad. All right. This is an IDE hosted online and that you can use to write. You don't need to with this, you can write that program. So now this is a computer program just here, right? But this is telling the computer to do something. So, but this is not what we want. We want to tell the computer to say hello to greet that for us. Okay, so for now, don't bother about the code. All right, I'm going to just say print. All right, and now inside I'll now say hello that. Okay, I'll say hello that. All right, and okay, so if I click run, all right, it is running. It will take, it's just taking time. That's one thing with the Dart pad. Okay. That's one thing with the Dart pad. And I think my network is also acting up. My network is also acting up. So, okay. All right. I'm sorry about this. My network is acting up. Okay. So, but find your way to this place. Click, as in just type, remove the other thing that was inside here before. Just type whatever I have written here and click run. You will see on the right side, it will now say hello Dart. Okay. So, all right, we will have to move on to the next thing we have here. Okay, the next IDE we are going to talk about. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me the next thing we are going to talk about is Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code. Now, this is an IDE developed by Microsoft and it's just free of charge. Okay, so Visual Studio Code, how do you download it? How do you download it? All right, go to, I just pray that my network will allow me. I'll go to my browser. Okay, just type Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. All right. And it's going to, you see the second one, all right? Code.visualstudio.com. Just click on download. Okay, it will bring you here. But if you have Visual Studio Code already, no problem, all right? So depending on the platform you're using, is it Windows, is it Mac, all right? If you're using Windows, you can click on Windows. If you click Windows, okay, it will take you here and ask you and say, thank you for download. No. But for me, I have it already, so I won't be downloading it. Sorry, I will have to cancel it. You understand? So once you click on that Windows, that button, it will start downloading for you. And once it is downloaded, all right. Once it is downloaded, you can now run the installer. Okay. And I guess some of you might not know how to run an installer. Oh, okay. All right. So let me download again. Let me see. And this one, my network is acting up. I don't know how. Okay, sorry. I can just, all right, no problem. We just have 2 minutes. Okay, let's wait for it to download. The installer is downloading. Okay, or do I have it? I have it. Okay, there's no need. I can pause. Okay, I don't want to download it, but once it is downloaded, okay, once the installer is downloaded, you can open the installer. So for me now, I can go, look at what, okay? If you're using Windows, you can click on that Windows button on your keyboard. All right, if you click on it, this will come up. You now say Visual Studio Installer. Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code installer. Okay, it's not coming up. So what I'm going to do is, okay, let me continue with the download so that I can just show you what I want to show you. So download it just like I'm downloading now. Okay, I think it's faster now. Okay, let's wait for it to download. Okay, so once you download, my network is really bad. All right, my network is really bad. Okay, let us, while we are waiting for it, we can continue. Okay, we can continue with this. Sorry. I believe you can continue with this while we are waiting for it to come up. While it's downloading, we can go to we can talk about software development kit. Okay, we can talk about software development kit. And what is a software development kit? It's a software development kit and SDK is a collection of tools, libraries, and instructions that help developers in developing software applications. The thing is this, you cannot, if you want to write everything yourself, it's going to be too difficult for you. So there are libraries. What is library? Library is just a program written by other people to help you to develop. All right. So SDK is like a toolkit that includes pre-built components and guidelines to help developers develop software for a given platform or programming environment. This increases the speed of the development process and makes sure the software functions properly with technology chosen, okay? So we are also going to download, all right? We also need to download the SDK through that SDK. We also need to download that SDK. But one thing I would want you to know is this. One thing I would like you to learn is this, okay? I'm going to I don't want to make this thing too easy for you, okay? Now, I will, just like you're downloading this Visual Studio Code, I want you to download it and run it, run the installer, all right? I want you to think out of the box. I want you to do it yourself, all right? This thing will download. All right. Once it downloads, the installer will pop up and just follow the step. Just be clicking next, 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 next until it installs. Okay. Just leave it at the default. I want you to do this thing yourself. Okay. Then, once you have downloaded your Visual Studio Code, I would also want you to go now, because we'll be developing Flutter application. That's actually the main reason why we are learning that. All right. So I can search for. We need to, instead of just installing that SDK. All right. If you install Flutter SDK, it also comes with that SDK. All right. So it's better because you still have to. Before I never knew, so I went ahead and downloaded that SDK, installed it. Later, when I started learning Flutter, I now had to download the Flutter SDK, and it has that with it. So, well, if you installed Flutter SDK, you're good to go. Okay, you don't need it will install that for you. So let's look for Flutter SDK. Just type Flutter SDK. All right. Search for Flutter SDK, and then you see this. Look at this page, docs.flutter.dev. Click, depending on the operating system you're using. I'm using Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. So for me, I'm using Windows. So I'll go to Windows. Okay. So when I come here, it is asking me, is it for desktop? Is it for Android? Is it for web? Now, look at that one. This one, they said Android recommended. Just download the Android, all right? It would do the same thing for you, all right? It will do the job for you, all right? So if you click on Android, which is the recommended one, now look at the steps you need to follow, all right? Look at the steps you need to follow, all right? These are the hardware requirements, all right? So when you come down to this, install the Flutter SDK, they say they have options here. They say use Visual Studio Code to install. All right, this might be difficult for you if you're a beginner. Just look at, I believe you can see my screen. Click on download and install. Don't use Visual Studio Code to install because it's possible you don't have Visual Studio Code now. Just click on download and install. When you do this, you cannot, you can click on this. Okay, now, I don't know, I think this one will be harder for you to do. All right, so once you have, now, okay, let's do it this way. Once you have your Visual Studio Code, okay, once you have installed it, all right, you can now come here and use Visual Studio to install. So these are the steps you need to follow. They say to install Flutter, these instructions, using this instruction, verify that you have installed Visual Studio Code 1.77 or later. So once you install this Visual Studio Code, it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. It's going to be the latest version. Okay. So they say the first thing you have to do is to launch your VS Code. Once you launch your VS Code, how do you launch your VS Code? Once I have installed it, okay, I can click on the Windows button and now say, if I just type Visual Studio Code, this is the simplest way. You can see it's showing me now, so I can just click enter and my Visual Studio Code would open. All right, my Visual Studio Code would open. So this is how Visual Studio Code looks. All right, so once it opens, I'm closing it, sorry. Once it opens, they say to open the command palette, press Ctrl-Shift-P. You press Ctrl-Shift-P in your Visual Studio Code, the command palette will come up. You will not type Flutter there. See, I just want you to do this thing yourself. All right, you need the life of a software developer is not an easy one, and I want you to start learning how to be somehow independent, okay? It doesn't mean that if you get stuck, reach out to me, please. If you get stuck, reach out, but I want you to do this thing yourself. So when you type Flutter in there, select Flutter, new project, just follow this step, all right? And you get things done, all right? Okay, so now let's go back to our slide, okay? So now, these are the few things we would need to do before we end this course. Now, running that on the command line, okay? Running a single .dat file, writing the code. So now, let me go back to my Visual Studio Code. All right. The first thing is that we want to run that on a command line. So how do you run that on a command line? Okay. The thing is this, in case you don't have Git installed, before your that application will be working, you need to download Git. Okay, so you can just go to Git. Okay, go search for Git. You need to download Git. All right. Look at downloads. When you come to downloads, you install. See, you need to have enough data. You really need to have enough data to do this. You really need to have enough data to do this. Okay, once you come here, okay, you can now click for Windows in case you're using Windows, okay? Click on Windows, it will come here and say click here to download. Just click here to download and it's downloading now, but I don't want to download it. So once it is done downloading, the installer will pop up and you just click on follow the steps, next, and you will be cool, all right? So I know it's very, very possible that you might run into some errors. That is why I'm going to drop my details so you can reach out to me. Or if you cannot, whenever you get stuck, just reach out to me, okay? All right, so now, how do you run, I think this video is already long. It's long already. So in the next class, we'll do these few things that we didn't do today, okay? So, but I was supposed to give you an assignment, but that assignment will be for the next one. But the assignment I'm giving you now is that I want you to install your Visual Studio Code, run it, get it to working, launch it. From there, install your Flutter, all right? Install Git. I want you to do these things, okay? In case you run into any issues, like I said, my WhatsApp number will be available in the description of this video. Chat me up and I will be available for you, okay? Thank you very much. I will see you in the next class. If you have any questions, you can make a comment, and subscribe, please, all right? Subscribe because it's going to be a lot of videos and it's going to be for free. Share this video, share it with your friends, all right? Share it with your friends. This is going to be for free. And I hope you enjoy your journey as a software developer. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next class.